Here is where tradition never dies. This is your radio, Cayman.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. It's a terrific Tuesday, not just because it's a day ending in a while, but because you get a chance to be a part of it and hopefully make it productive. I want to invite you to be a part of our discussion as we talk to our good friends at the Cayman Boxing Association. You want to see what it can do? Well, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for joining us. I know it's Christmas, man, and if my voice was as good as some, I would even try to sing, but hey, I don't. But the song is in my heart, and my prayers and petitions that this country will continue to strive for greatness. And I'm honored to be able to welcome to our studio the President of the Cayman Boxing Association, Ms. Layla Jackson.
Hi, thanks for having us. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, and our second Vice President, Coach Tristan. It's a pleasure, man.
Merry Christmas.
I know a few people who have some names for you, man, and I think it's said fondly and affectionately and with a lot of love. You're the drill master, man.
As long as I do my push-ups, I'm fine.
But I like that because there's a way, as you know, Leila, there's a way that coaches can motivate people to do things, just like the teacher can with the student in the class, just like the parents sometimes. You find, and it's not only the carrot that's being dangled, but it's not always that harsh stick. Mm-hmm. And coach, you have a very, very good balance, man. Good stuff.
Guilty as sin.
But I must confess that I love boxing. I always stress amateur boxing. I like it. I like Olympic boxing. I like to watch, the training that goes on. And for me, if I exaggerate, coach, you guide me, but it's the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit. Everything is in it. And it's genuinely one of those sports where it's lifetime, and it's the family, the mom and dad, the children. They can even bring the pets along if they want sometimes.
Yep.
You can be so actively engaged. As they say, Miss Layla, if you want, the job done right, give it to a woman. So, at the helm.
Well, that's not just true of our executive, I guess, but true of our boxers as well, because our most successful boxer right now is Brandy Barnes. And, she's flying the flag for female boxers. And it's great, actually, because for female boxers, there's so much opportunity, because obviously the categories are not as large. There's not as many competitors worldwide. So real, genuine opportunities for female boxers out there, and that's something which we're really trying to push and make her a role model for gender equality in boxing.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward. People like different things for Christmas, right? And so a student who is away at school had a term paper, semester paper, whatever it's called, to do, and they talked about gender equality and women across the globe and their successes. And I haven't seen the final version, but I saw some of the initial sort of pencilings as they were as to where it was going to go. And in politics globally, women seem to have been at the helm more so than in business and more so than in sports. And with Brandy's success, that came towards the end of her paper. It may have made it into it, but the notion that we're still now almost in the 21st century, and we're still talking about women being the first, as opposed to it being, you're an athlete, compete.
Yeah.
And Cayman can be at the frontier if you want to, right?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. We really could. And it's funny what you said about keeping it in the family as well, because Brandy is from a boxing family. You know, I don't know what they talk about around the dinner table, but Ernest, the father, he competed as an amateur boxer. Sabian, Brandy's brother, he's competed as an amateur boxer, but also now training to be a boxing coach. So, but, you know, plenty boxing talk around that. With table.
Great respect to Mr. Ernest. Sometimes I see Sabian next to Coach Tristan thinking, Mini-me? I'm not sure.
I hope so for you guys.
No. I mean, their looks, their disposition, you know. No, but that's great. But I think people need, you know, a strong father figure, an older brother, an uncle, you know, someone to be a mentor, to be an inspiration, to be able to share a different perspective. And I think that's one of the great things about living in Cayman and working and growing up here. You have an opportunity to learn multiple languages if you choose, to be exposed to so many different people, and to be around. It's for me, it's like being able to have the opportunity when I was younger to speak to all the older seafarers who traveled the globe, who worked on ships. And there may have been a handful of Caymanians, but there were all of these other nationalities, and they went to all these different ports. Someone picked up languages, someone may have got other families, but that's a different story. But they got introduced to so many different people, and they had a healthy respect for what we're talking today about, you know, intercultural relations and the like. It's like a United Nations, and I think we learn so much and should appreciate. And I must commend you, the executive, the coaches, and all the good things that are happening at the Boxing Association. And as a Christmas, maybe, if it's appropriate, maybe we get the families to consider strongly about the health of mind, the health of body, and what, not just those, you know, things that are resolved to do in the new year, but specifically, how are we going to do it together so that we have the health of mind and our health of body? The gift of giving, man, that love and that health, right?
Yep, of course.
Share with us, Mr. Leila. I mean, you have a vision. You certainly have put in an incredible amount of work. And probably some of the executives going, oh, man, she's a taskmaster. I thought Tristan was bad. But if you want something, you have to work for it, right?
Yeah, I think it's probably been about 9 months since we were last on the show, and I think that what we've managed to achieve in that time period is quite a lot. One of the main things that we've been focusing on is getting back to boxing. So we've tried to grow our grassroots programs, which Tristan will talk more about, to really make sure that we've got a lot of succession and that we've got more kids coming into the program and that they're interested in boxing. We've been trying to generate excitement in boxing through that, because if we don't have that succession, then it's not going to grow into a bigger national team. So getting back to boxing, focusing on the grassroots, making our boxing gym a nicer place to train. So upgrading the facilities, putting some nice motivational artwork in, stuff like that. Just really, you know, making it a more inviting, exciting place to come and train.
Well, I think that if people haven't been by in a while, they should, because I've seen the good work of the corporate sponsor and, you know, the little things, the motivation. I mean, of course, the picture of Muhammad Ali always helps.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Coach Tristan, if I may ask of you, and guide me in this, because I think sometimes... I'm enthusiastic, and I may be accused of, well, you like it, so therefore you want to see the good in it. But there are some people, and this morning deliberately, I reached out to a couple of individuals, a couple that I know love boxing probably more than I do, and a few who have a perception, well, boxing is barbaric, it's this, it's that, it's the next thing. But to the parents who are looking to engage their children, who themselves are perhaps looking to maybe find fitness and contribute in some physical, financial, tangible, meaningful way to help our children to be disciplined, respectful, resourceful. Boxing offers that, probably unlike any other sport. I mean, that is honestly my perspective, and it's the physical development that you get, the mental, the dexterity, the agility. There's so much.
Yep. I cannot sell it any better than you just did yourself.
Oh, it's not a sale, but anyway, thank you.
Yeah, I think that one of the pieces of artwork in the gym really testifies to that, because, you know, the motto on the wall is "Don't fight, box," and it's trying to make that distinction that people think that boxing is this violent sport, and it isn't, because it's pretty much the exact opposite of that. It's trying to regulate that aggression or that anger, take it out on a bag instead of out on a person, because when you're in the ring and when you are a boxer, you have to have a high level of discipline, and you have to know that you don't just fling your fists. You've got to be much more disciplined and strategic about things.
There's a guy, hopefully he visits Christmas, but we've lost contact sort of physically. Now his life, his job requires that he's on the go. He works in environments where the decisions probably affect people's lives more than they realize. And he came to boxing partly through his grandfather, and I understand his story, his competition, when he was growing up back in his home country and the like. And despite his age being a little bit senior to mine, he still has a little bag, the speedball and the things in his home. At one time, his office even had a little spot. And he said the greatest way to de-stress, the greatest way to focus, he's going into a board meeting, he needs to convince investors or something, how do I make this point? And he'll hit the bag, not out of frustration. I think that helps at times too. But it gives him focus and clarity, an outlet. Yeah. And when you see him in his, whatever the business suit is making his presentation, you think this guy is just come from yoga or, I don't know, some sort of meditation. But it's boxing. Kristen, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I can only emphasize on that or elaborate a little bit more on that. I got a lot of people coming in 5:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing that they do. You don't want to see them when they go out of the gym, but I always check up with them, and they get a huge energy boost out of their workout. Boxing is a very diverse sport. I think a lot of people, again, associate boxing with violence, but there's no way that any one of us in the boxing gym will allow anyone to spar, either unsupervised or if you're not ready. And the pathway to become ready to do actual sparring in the ring with protection is well over the course of a year. I think one of the most important things that we have in the gym, at least how I see it, is that we have a huge respect for one another. Everybody that trains in any of the classes that I have been coaching, including the Cayman youth, has been very respectful towards one another when it comes to boxing. So I never saw all the fights that I see outside on the streets, and I never saw something like that in the gym ever since I've been on the island.
And I think you develop a friendship and a respect.
That's what it is
for each other. Because, and for those who, I believe in testing hypothesis. So this is a cell. It's exaggeration. Check it out. You look at the boxing gym, you see people who work in the office. Today's their decision is going to affect tomorrow's financial market, or it may be the teacher who is assisting in something, or it could be the guy who's going to be laying your blocks. There's a varied cross section of ages, of disciplines, of all sorts of people, and it's a common love for being healthy, of being physically, mentally fit.
Or being tortured by the likes of Tristan.
No, being motivated. Yeah.
I think motivating would be a better word.
Torture is close enough.
I think motivating would be. But what I do though, and some of the people know me by that, is that I try to push everybody to their limits. Because when you get pushed to the limits, or at least you get pushed out of your comfort zone, that is where you grow. Yeah. I'm originally born in the Netherlands, and the schools that I used to go to were pretty rough. So I'm being very gentle on you guys.
It reminds us. But that's the thing, though. What the body is capable of. I mean, we see it with those guys who are, say, the astronauts, for instance, the training that they go through, the test pilots, the naval divers, and the like. We see with that person who didn't think he could run less than 10 seconds in 100, or the person who was swimming. There's so much, but even the person who's sitting in an academic exam, what you're capable of if you're sufficiently driven and motivated and encouraged.
I think you see it back in a lot of sports. Basically, what we're trying to do is set up challenges. It's not about me seeing you sweating like crazy. I'm lying maybe a little, because if you're not sweating, you're not doing hard enough. But if I see people talking, you know what I say, right? That means that you can train a little bit harder too. So from a coaching point of view, I'm not only just giving you like a simple exercise to do, or maybe a hard exercise to do. I always look how you do it, and if I see that you need a break, even though that you don't want to stop, I'm going to make you take a break. So it's not about pushing. No, it's about pushing and seeing and understanding your clients or people that are training with you, how far you can take them. So again, I think it's more about the mental challenges that you set for people, the physical challenges that you set for people, and how you are able to pick them up again when you think that they almost reached their limits. And one of the best ways to do that is by splashing cold water in their necks.
So he tells us. But that's the thing, though. Yeah, when I listen to you, I recognize too sometimes, we are our greatest enemy. That we tell ourselves that we can't. Sometimes inadvertently, unconsciously. Other times, I believe that we don't appreciate how that mental block, we have to overcome that first so that we can establish physically we can do this thing, that extra push-up. I can't do 5 push-ups, but you just did 50. Yep. You have a way to, Tristan. I must confess that some coaches push, and they never perhaps intend to break. But you motivate. It's not as much as we give you a hard time. It's not demeaning or demoralizing. It's encouraging and nurturing, and you push and you see it. Comes, I guess, from your expertise, your experience, and the like. And maybe that's one of the things that when we come back from the break, we can talk about the need for us to continue upskilling ourselves and our people, so that those who are instructing us, as well-intentioned as we may be, that we actually have the skill set, so that we're properly training the people, doing exercises properly, getting the form, the warm-up and the cool-down and all the things in between. All right.
Yep.
President Leila, Vice President Tristan, maybe we can talk more about boxing and encourage people.
Very good. Well, another thing that I want to emphasize a little bit is because where I came from, I wasn't like a martial artist. I do a lot of kickboxing, or I did a lot of kickboxing, and I did a lot of boxing back home. But the only reason that I started to do that sport or those kind of sports was because of the fact that I was always a team player. I was a basketball player. I've been playing basketball for the majority of my life, became a national champion in the Netherlands in my division. The Netherlands is pretty big, so that was kind of a cool accomplishment. But I always was like, okay, I need to push myself personally a little bit harder, as opposed to, for example, being part of a team and just score as a team. However, in the boxing, I'm noticing more and more that for me, it's not about the individual work, it's about the teamwork, it's about the group dynamics. If you are in the classes, you know that everybody is friendly, you know that everybody says hi to each other, and you know that everybody is trying to help each other. Doesn't matter whether it's in the gym or whether it's out of the gym, and that's for me the most satisfying thing out of the coaching, to be honest.
I think that's what I like about it. It builds community. Something that we see in boxing. We'll have a match. Even there are a group of people who are going to be watching some boxing match that's taking place in some part of the world, and they get together. The commonality of that love for the sport, but the camaraderie of them sitting and watching it, whether it's in a big living room, a small backyard, or some other assembled place. That teamwork, that love, that respect, that sort of community. Yeah. All right, when we come back, let's chat some more about it. For those who are listening, yes, I do enjoy boxing. I credit my father with it. I probably will never have aspired to be a great boxer, but hey, you can dream, right? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
This Health Flash is brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Over 65 million people around the world have moderate or severe COPD, a family of diseases that includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Cleveland Clinic, Florida offers a wide range of management and treatment options for COPD, including programs focused on education, medication, smoking cessation, and pulmonary rehabilitation. A team of experts is ready to review your symptoms and test results to develop a comprehensive treatment plan. For more information, visit clevelandclinicflorida.org.
Research shows that domestic violence increases during the holidays. Financial pressures, family pressures, work pressures, all of these play a part. So don't let the pressures of life take over. Choose to diffuse the spousal arguments before they begin. Most people experience their greatest anger when they feel dismissed, ignored, or misunderstood. Many people instinctively avoid naming their fears, and it's all too easy to mistake sadness and fear for anger. So if you feel like you're heading for an argument, or you find yourself getting angry, stop for a moment and ask yourself, am I reacting to a feeling of loss? Telling someone else what you're sad about or afraid of means that you're willing to let down your guard and be honest. And they may react by doing the same. A quote from ahealthyplace.com says this: "Remember, from every wound there is a scar, and every scar tells a story. A story that says, I have survived. Turn your wounds into wisdom.
The Stop the Slap campaign has been proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
I need a bank that is convenient for me.
What do you mean?
I need a bank that has easy-to-find locations and plenty ATMs when I need cash on the go.
Oh, well, that's easy. You need to bank with Cayman National. They have 7 customer service centers and 23 ATM locations. The newest one is at the East End Post Office, and I hear there's more to come.
Well, sounds like I need to bank with Cayman National Bank, the convenient bank, because they seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Cayman National is everywhere. Surely they are Cayman's convenient bank.
Cayman National Bank. We're here for you.
Oh, this Christmas, Kirk Freeport is wishing everyone peace, love, joy, and $40,000 in prizes. Win one of the multiple $5,000 and $1,000 cash prizes just for shopping at your favorite Kirk Freeport store. Purchases of $100 before noon on Christmas Eve qualify for all remaining prize draws. There's even a Rolex watch prize draw on January 2nd, and loads of other great prizes. Peace, love, joy, and the island's biggest Christmas sweepstakes. Only from Kirk Freeport. Full details on kirkfreeport.com. Merry Christmas from Kirk Freeport.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome, Mike, and thanks for joining us. And this discussion isn't just about boxing, but about the merits of teamwork, about the importance of a community supporting each other, working together, and raising the bar. At least that's my perspective.
I like that, yeah.
And as I have the chance to, with great respect, hopefully develop a working relationship, a friendship with you guys, not helping only to maybe promote and get the community involved, but for us to understand that through this, we're helping ourselves, we're helping our children, and I know you can only speak from what you know. So the good company of the president of the Boxing Association, Ms. Leila Jackson, the second VP coach, Tristan. For me, boxing gives us certain things. I recall playing football and training in the boxing gym. You think, well, how can playing football and training in the boxing gym, they're two different sports? True. Now, if I'm exaggerating or just being foolish, you tell me, coach. But the things that you did in the football field, the jumping, to be able to hopefully run and move, those are the things that help in the boxing gym. As you did those things in the gym, you were able to do them better on the field. That's what I found.
Absolutely correct. In boxing, you do a lot of endurance training, which you need in soccer. You do a lot of high-intensity training and plyometrics, which you need in soccer. You have a lot of agility routines, which you need in soccer. And you have to strategize. You have to understand the why you are doing specific things. And you have to look a little bit further than just the bag or the combination that you're going to make, because there's always going to be a counter. There's always going to be a sidestep or another movement that your opponent is going to make. And in soccer, you can apply the same things. Basically, what you're talking about is creating clarity.
And we have actually, funny you should say it, been working with different football clubs, the rugby club, athletics as well, because collaborations, even though the sports are completely different, the parallels are there, and whatever we can do to work with other sports and benefit them, the strength and conditioning, even darts. We have a collaboration with Cayman Islands Darts Association now. So how do boxing and darts go together? Well, they do.
Okay, so put the boxers in the ring and throw a dart. No.
No. But in a funny way, government helps us a lot with, for example, the building that we are using. So I perceive it as a community building.
Yes.
So if the Darts Association doesn't have a place to put their youth in, because they cannot put them in the attic or any kind of another kind of a bar, because that's not the right environment for them.
True.
And we got the space, why not accommodate them? We got the youth of the Special Olympics training with us in the fitness room that we just updated. A very small goal of us was to update the fitness room, so we had some local funds available. And we just did it and got it done. It's not a complicated thing, it's just a lot of work. We have Falcon Athletics coming and training with us. We got some of the John Gray kids using the fitness rooms. We have revamped the grassroots program with all the schools in our vicinity. However, we still want to expand to those kind of things, but I think Leila will elaborate a little bit more on that going forward.
I like the synergies that you're referencing, and if I'm not at the place, I'm hopeful as a community, as we're thinking it's Christmas and how we're going to give, whether we're the corporate entity, whether we're the social club within a corporate entity, whether we're an individual, invest in a program like the Boxing Association. Invest, I like your word, in the community, because there's a lot of incredible benefits, from it.
There's sorry to interrupt you. There's a lot of way to invest, right? And yes, of course we need funding, and yes, of course we want to do a lot of more stuff where money is associated with. But honestly, I'm not really interested in that. Sorry to say, Leila. What I am interested in is people's time. Yeah. I want people to be in the gym. I want people to be actively participating in that kind of stuff, whether it's just cleaning up the gym. If we do it with 4 or 5 persons, we're done in 30 minutes and everybody is in a clean gym again within 30 minutes.
Workout.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. And again, I'm always baffled about the amount of conversations and work that there is in any association, to be honest, because I speak to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't, but at the end of the day you just have to get things done, and getting things done is a time effort. It's not always a monetary effort.
Well, the government, I think, supports many things.
Absolutely.
And the way it's investing in its people through sports, through physical activity, I think it's going to be helpful in many ways, because we'll be healthier, we'll be more active, mentally, the clarity is there. Hopefully the self-respect and self-confidence is there. Hopefully the understanding that, we are not just our brother's keeper, but our actions impact others. So President Leila, from that perspective, as Coach was sharing, we're moving forward. We want to do things. Money is important, but I think, as Coach was sharing, that time that we're willing to invest. So those social clubs, those corporate entities that want to do a work day, come out and make your team more productive by making them more active and healthier.
Yep, absolutely. A great example of that is that my firm actually started training, boxing training, at lunchtime, and they feel so great about the training. They're enjoying it so much. They feel like they're progressing so much that they totally took over the project of revamping the front of the boxing gym. For 3 weekends, we were there pressure washing the front of the gym, painting the front of the gym. They paid for the new sign. So, it just goes to show that we've got this community here. And once people think, oh, actually, this is giving to me, I want to give back, what we can achieve is really incredible.
Many hands make light work.
Yeah.
I agree.
And together.
But I think it's often taken for granted. And I think the vibe that at least I would like to keep in the boxing gym is that everybody helps everybody. So we got Raphael helped out with the artists, and the artwork is absolutely amazing, especially I love the Muhammad Ali Sonny Liston painting with the quote associated to it and that kind of stuff. And Cara Julian is going to help us a little bit with some updating of the gym with some new artwork and that kind of stuff. And Cara Julian, her son, trains with us, right? Mm-hmm. That's how we help each other. We train her kid, and she helps us a little bit. We train Raphael. Raphael helps us a little bit. It goes. I can give you millions of examples.
Trying to instill that in the athletes as well, because obviously the athletes get a lot from our program. They get to travel. They get these great experiences. We found placements and jobs and upskilling and things like that for our athletes. And so one of the things that we really want to do is show them that they need to give back for that. So one of the pillars of the program is to introduce this community service element, and if it means picking up a brush whilst you're in the gym and cleaning up, or if it means that one Saturday we'll go to a beach in West Bay and clean that up, then it is what it is. But that's what we need to encourage. Exactly.
But now, with all the changes that we made in the association, it's going to be part of our goals for next year to actually do so.
Well, I'm hoping that as a community we come on board. Coach, President Leila, we do have a call online. The headsets, not the most comfortable. They may mess up your hair, Coach. But if you just put it on, let me see what's on the other line. Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for listening, and thank you even more so for calling. Welcome to Talk Today.
Yeah, I've been listening to this conversation here for quite a while.
Yes, sir.
And I have never heard Didi's name mentioned.
Well, he's coming up shortly.
Coming up shortly. A man who spent 45, 50, 55 years in boxing advocacy.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, and I think that's why boxing has such a great backbone in Cayman. It's because of all the work that he put in.
Mm-hmm.
The new sign in the gym is testament to that. The gym is obviously named after Mr. Dalmain, and that's looking great again now. But that's why boxing has so much support in Cayman, I think, because of everything that he did back in the day. Yeah. You know, putting out the bags in West Bay, and when we didn't even have a gym, and encouraging people to box, and that long history. You know, when you hear families like the Barnes family talk about him and what he put in, and you know how much respect they have for him, that is why it's following down from generation to generation. That's why it's gone down from Mr. Ernest to Sabian to Brandy, and that continues, and it's wonderful to have that history.
Yes, sir. You are right.
Well, you need to keep it boiled up to the top.
Yeah, well, thank you. And, you know, I take responsibility for that because his name was the first on my lips, but I decided for personal reasons as to why. But you are right, and we will never not only forget him, but his contribution, his legacy to boxing.
Absolutely, and that's why his picture is you know, still in the gym and needs to be, and we need to tell these stories too.
But maybe one day I can get you and my father come and we can take a tour of the gym again, sir. How about that? I'll drive. Promise you safely.
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay.
I'll do that. But,
right.
You know, man, he put in so much energy and everything he had into boxing. You know, I don't, you know, any conversation you have about boxing should start with DD.
Yes, sir.
Should end with DD.
Well, I was going to end with it, well, midway and end, but maybe I should have started. Thank you for that, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you. You know, and he's right. I mean, I didn't. I'll tell you off here, partly why, but I remember the West Bay Town Hall and Mr. D coming out and, you know, the bags and the gloves, and I don't know if you call them gloves because sometimes they were in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
But he made the most of them, and every child, male or female, most of it was young boys, but he put them under, and him and my father won a ship together, and he was the coach. My dad would box, and I think that's probably why they got a couple extra dollars to send home. But it was that thing, and they had this thing where they would, you know, do their hands. It's challenging to talk about boxing without becoming emotive, right? And the emotion boils up in you. But that's why I love the sport, because I see the friendships that have been built over the years. I see what it has done for people.
Absolutely correct, but it is his legacy that we are building on.
Yes.
And speaking of which, maybe Leila can elaborate a little bit more on the trainer program. Yeah. We don't have a name for it. Maybe we found one right now. But it is all about that specific legacy, and again, building basically future legacy by the likes of Theodore Kelly, Blaze Wood, Sabian Barnes, as becoming aspiring coaches there in our program right now.
Yeah, man. And President Leila, train the trainer. Huh?
Yeah, train the trainer, because, you know, we are reliant on coaches coming in from say England or wherever to try and build our national team. And obviously one of the things that we want to do, as well as build the national team and have success internationally, is to have Caymanians trained as coaches as well. And so that was really the focus behind the Train the Trainer program, is to upskill people who are interested in boxing, people who are passionate about boxing. If they want to learn how to coach in the gym, then, you know, there should be pathways available for that. And Sabian, Theo Kelly, Blaze Wood are all in this pilot program of Train the Trainer, where they've come from being athletes in the sport to actually learning about what it does behind the scenes and how you become a coach as well. And at the end of the day, Sabian, for example, is doing it because he's injured and can't actually compete. But, you know, in the future, if he were to go back and compete again, then he has this whole different perspective of boxing from being trained as a coach as well, which can only be beneficial.
To him, to the sport, and to the community. All right, quick short break. Goes fast when you're having fun, Coach. When we come back, more talk today.
Awesome.
Who's the leader in Sapiens?
It's Foster's.
This holiday season, taste Christmas with Foster's IGA.
Try a new recipe. Incorporate a new flavor into your Christmas feasts. Bake with a new ingredient. Whatever you decide, make the most of time with family and friends and celebrate the holidays.
Visit fosters-iga.com or Foster's IGA on Facebook for taste Christmas inspiration, recipes, and more. To make the most of flavors Christmas has to offer.
At Foster's Food Fair IGA, we care. South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
Hey, did you hear about Pinna's groundbreaking new lower prices? Over 350 of some of our top-selling brands are now reduced in price by up to 45%. Yes, 45%. For the best prices, brands and service, Penha is the place to be for your holiday shopping. Visit Penha, number 40, Royal Plaza on Cardinal Avenue, Georgetown. Merry Christmas from Penha.
Make it Le Classique this holiday season and give the gift that will last forever. The gift of leather. With leather goods, accessories, and footwear that fuse classic timeless fashion with today's trends. Le Classique will add versatility and distinction to any wardrobe. Find the perfect gift for any man with the selection of leather belts, wallets, briefcases, and luggage to shoes for leisure, work, or special occasions up to size 13. Make it Le Classique this holiday season. For the ladies looking for style and quality, Le Classique carries handbags, luggage, shoes, and accessories for any occasion. Shop the new shoe, accessories, and leather collection for men and women at Le Classique this holiday season. Make it last. Make it Le Classique.
Research shows that domestic violence increases during the holidays. Financial pressures, family pressures, work pressures, all of these play a part. So don't let the pressures of life take over. Choose to diffuse the spousal arguments before they begin. Most people experience their greatest anger when they feel dismissed, ignored, or misunderstood. Many people instinctively avoid naming their fears, and it's all too easy to mistake sadness and fear for anger. So if you feel like you're heading for an argument, or you find yourself getting angry, stop for a moment and ask yourself, am I reacting to a feeling of loss? Telling someone else what you're sad about or afraid of means that you're willing to let down your guard and be honest. And you know, they may react by doing the same. A quote from ahealthyplace.com says this: "Remember, from every wound there is a scar, and every scar tells a story. A story that says, I have survived. Turn your wounds into wisdom."
The Stop the Slap campaign, proudly sponsored by Foster's IGA. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
See what I'm saying? I know you've been pining for us. We're back. Okay, definition of the word pining.
Intransitive verb. 1. To lose vigor, health, or flesh, languish. 2. To yearn intensely and persistently, especially for something unattainable. They still pine for their lost wealth.
See what I'm saying? December. I know you all were pining for the show because every time I go out, I keep hearing, when you going to do next show? When you do next show? I like that show, you know? I like that show. So join us for the next. See what I'm saying? This Friday, that's the next one you're coming up, the 21st of December, 2018, while we still have it. I don't know when it is. It's 12:15 to 2:30.
See what I'm saying is a special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
See, we focusing on pining because it's Christmas time and you're waiting for your loved ones to come back. And that's where you get the pine. And that's when I first heard of it. Seacher. No, Seacher. Yeah, football, playing football. Seacher.
Proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us. It's truly a pleasure, and I say this for many reasons. One, to be in a good company of great people. You're inspired, motivated. You see where they're sincere, genuine, and nurturing others. It makes you, at the very least, very, very positive about what the future holds. So, Coach Tristan, not just as a coach, but as the second VP, and together with President Leader Jackson of the Boxing Association. the future looks bright, for all of us if we continue to work together. Share with us now. Time is going so fast.
Yeah, that's true. It barely feels like we've been here 2 minutes.
Yep.
But yeah, absolutely. I think that's why it's nice to be here just before the start of the new year, because maybe we could come back in 2019 and talk about what we've managed to achieve in the next 6 months. It's all about growing, and you can only do what you can do, but as long as we keep pushing forwards and keep trying to attain more kids in the program, more bigger national team, more success internationally. Those are all the things that we're aiming for. And like we say, the pillar of community service, the pillar of training, the pillar of getting our athletes ready to be great citizens in the real world as well. It's all important stuff, and we're not going to get it right first time, but we keep working towards that.
Yeah, again, I think it's about not over-promising, but being very hands-on, and at the same time being open for feedback from whomever wants to share feedback with us also. Again, the Train-the-Trainer program is a pilot program. Fit Mind was a pilot program. The Grassroots was a pilot program, and now we're going into the second and the third flights of those programs. So every single time we hope to grow in those programs also. And again, I was talking about the time investments and that kind of stuff. That's where we need help. The more expertise we can get from people that have interest in sports or have interest in boxing or have knowledge about boxing, the better as far as I'm concerned.
And the thing that you share that I believe, that active, engaged, healthy community, it translates into two things immediately. Less or lower cost for healthcare for you and for the country. It makes you more productive as a person, not just in your business, but at home, but in life. You can sit and enjoy and laugh louder and longer because you're healthy. And I think your mind is clearer, your body is much more capable of doing stuff, whatever that stuff is. And I think boxing gives that to you.
Again, other sports give that to you too.
True.
Again, I think boxing is a multidisciplinary sport because it combines a lot of different sports and specialisms all in one different sport. And the only way you can find it out is by doing an actual class and or training or be part of that specific program. Because the moment you step in that ring to do like an exhibitionary sparring match, so to say, without being punched in the face, that's when you get really, really mentally challenged and physically challenged, because it's like an entire different ball game.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And until you're ready for that, like you said, just come hit the bags and
do
the other stuff, and
exactly
you see the difference. That it's a different thing. Yes, you have to like it. You have to have a love for everything, but this is work. President Leader, as your executive and any others, from the athletes to the aspiring coaches, please let us know how we can help. 'Cause I think it's really beneficial for the community when we're actively involved. Any other thoughts you want to share with us?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything. Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you for having us. Great to be here.
It's a pleasure.
Always.
And thanks very much. Thanks for the continued commitment and investment, and to all others, coaches you shared, whether they're giving of their time or their talent or their treasure. We give it collectively, and we see a meaningful impact. The gym is don't want to say this derogatory, it's a simple gym. It's just a building, but there's significant things. But significant things are happening in
it's
there.
It's the people within the building that count, not the premises itself.
Not unlike a church, huh?
Yeah.
It's not a building. Blessings to you for the Christmas.
Thank you so much. Same for you, sir.
For those students who come this afternoon to train, God be with them. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To our listeners, we're going to pause and take a short break. When we come back, our good friends from RCIPS will join us. I don't know, maybe there'll be an arrest in the making. And I'm just kidding. They'll tell us about some road safety and other little things we can do. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Follow Radio K-Man on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio K-Man.
Radio K-Man.
Radio K-Man's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
A 33-year-old Georgetown man has been charged with burglary. This in relation to an incident last Saturday where police say a quantity of cash was stolen from an address on Grackle Road, Georgetown. He appeared in court this morning. In news elsewhere, U.S. President Donald Trump's charitable foundation has reached a deal to dissolve amid a legal battle with New York's Attorney General. Attorney General Barbara Underwood and the foundation filed a joint stipulation with the court Tuesday, laying out a process for shutting down the charity and distributing remaining assets to other nonprofit groups. New York filed a lawsuit last spring accusing the foundation of operating like an extension of Trump's businesses and political campaign. The suit will continue. Meanwhile, the White House on Tuesday appeared to inch away from forcing a partial government shutdown over funding for a southern border wall, with Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders saying there are other ways to secure the $5 billion in funding that U.S. President Donald Trump wants. It's the first sign of a potential White House counter-offer as the clock ticks down toward Friday's deadline to fund the government. And Saudi Arabia's expenditures will hit a record high in 2019 as the government plans to increase state spending by 7% to reach $295 billion despite plunging oil prices. King Salman announced the figures on Tuesday, saying the government expects revenue to increase by more than 9% to hit $260 billion. That leaves a projected deficit of $35 billion. Those are your latest updates here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanta Gallego.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
See what I'm saying? I know you've been pining for us. We're back. Okay, definition of the word pining.
Intransitive verb. 1. To lose vigor, health, or flesh, languish. 2. To yearn intensely and persistently, especially for something unattainable, they still pine for their lost wealth.
See what I'm saying? December. I know you all were pining for the show because every time I go out, I keep hearing, when you going to do next show? When you do next show? I like that show, you know? I like that show. So join us for the next. See what I'm saying? This Friday, that's the next one you're coming up, the 21st of December, 2018, while we still have it. I don't know when it is. It's 12:15 to 2:30.
See what I'm saying is a special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
See, we focusing on pining because it's Christmas time and you're waiting for your loved ones to come back. And that's where you get the pine. And that's when I first heard it. Seacher. No. Seacher. Football, playing football. Seacher.
Proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. And this is the beauty of live radio and the worst part of the job as we transition from guest to guest. But you know what? The only part, I think this is maybe the only time where I thought, having the cameras in the studio are great because you get to see the dashing uniform of a fine.
I blame Joel for the noise, I'm sorry.
Well, we blame Joel for everything.
Yes.
I know. I'll be honest on PC Power, we blame Joel for everything. Usually, most of the times, it's undeserving, but you know what? Someone has to be blamed, right?
Yeah, he could take it.
I'm not sure. You think he's tough?
Yeah, he's all right. He been getting it long enough.
No, and thank you for referencing his name because I've said to him so many times. I mean, I've known him almost all my life. We've been through school all together.
Oh.
And he has an incredible talent.
Oh, he does. He does.
Believe
it or not, in the 5 minutes I've been here, we just recorded a greeting.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, and what he does with that, and that's the thing that I like with our team here at Radio Cayman. We have an incredible team, and with great respect, not to take away from any of them. Sometimes we dismiss the ones we know, because we know them.
Mm-hmm.
I try, hopefully, not to always do that. But I kind of know Joel. I think I know him. We went through from the early days of school, through the middle of the part of school, to the higher part of school, to other part
of the school. Sounds like you know him.
Right? And to see, and I think I say this, and hopefully it doesn't sound as an indictment against our people, but if it causes us to quicken the spirit and start to look more closer at what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
I believe someone like him, like so many like him, if they were in a different, country,
mm-hmm.
they would be at the very, very top with the wealth, with the publicity.
I
and
believe
everything.
you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's so many, whether they're boxers or they play other sports, whether they're
Mm-hmm.
musicians or artists in other areas, whether they're academics and they do great in the classroom. It doesn't matter. We don't seem to, one, recognize the talent
Mm-hmm.
that we have, or two, invest in it to the extent that we should. Not just putting the money in, but put the time to nurture them.
Absolutely.
And then three, give them the opportunities to be able to, at the very least, see if they can develop, see if they can improve, see if they can excel, see if they can achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have been able to hear bits and pieces and snippets of a last conversation with our friends from the Boxing Association. That's why I like to reach out to them, because it's a great program.
My friend too. I'm very proud of everything that's been happening with the Boxing Association and all the developments. I'm really happy to see it, because I used to box when I was in high school. So yeah.
Well, I think it's a wonderful sport.
Absolutely.
If you play tennis, for instance, or you play football,
mm-hmm.
you can train in the boxing gym and improve your game.
Yes.
I honestly believe that.
Yes. Yeah. There is more cardio at the boxing gym than there is on a track. There is.
Yeah, man. And you learn, how to. Mr. Dalmy used to talk about slickness, you learn that. Yeah, the agility. So it's something special and spectacular about this time
mm-hmm.
of year, and I think it's even more so when we work together. And hopefully, with your presence today and your continued, reminder. So PC Jordan Purry from the, RCIPS. Who knows? She could be the next premier, the next governor, the next commissioner of police.
Mm-hmm.
She may be the next director of Radio Cayman, or the next, deputy governor. You never know, right? You're still young, ambitious.
Those are big dreams, yes.
Yeah.
But yes, I am very ambitious, and I do have quite a bit of drive in me. Yeah,
that's a good thing, huh?
Yes.
I only found out recently that when someone said to me, "Oh, you're too ambitious," that they were actually being insulting. I didn't know that. I thought.
Is there such a thing?
Well, I'm thankful for my parents, my mother in particular, who
mm-hmm.
set by example that desire to drive and succeed and to seek excellence. If you do it, she said, do it to your best ability and do it with a smile.
Absolutely.
And so it's good. Now, you've, as an organization, you guys have probably even busier next couple of months ahead.
Yes, the holiday season is busy for everyone. Particularly the police, because of the increase in the amount of people that are out on the roads. We have different things going on, like we have Christmas parties going on that we have to pay particular attention to, because with parties you have drinking, and with drinking you have drunk driving. So we have those things to pay attention to, and so we have an operation for traffic road safety, where we are looking for persons who are driving drunk, trying to make the road safer by providing a presence on the roadway. And, with that, we are hoping, with the increased presence, we're hoping that persons will be more vigilant and on the road and will adhere to the traffic law a little bit more.
Okay.
We're hoping.
Well, I'm hopeful. And I know, and I'm going to ask you, not off here, ask so you can guide us. Many of us, I would like to believe, are law-abiding citizens. We try to comply with the traffic law, with the road signs, with the sort of, I don't want to say commands of the police officer, but the police officer, she's out there directing traffic, maybe because it's raining, the stoplights are not working, maybe, things are moving a little bit slower, so let's just facilitate it a little faster. So if we can adhere to that level of instruction,
absolutely,
it make it easier. For the, I call them the roadblocks. So when you check in Saturday, then earlier there was one for some reason, so officers were present. We as the motoring public, I know some of us probably feel frustrated. We're late getting to point A or whatever. What can we do so that we remain not just compliant, but safe and help to facilitate the orderly, safe move through, that police check?
Honestly, the only thing that you really can do when it comes to police checks, when it comes to any kind of road obstruction, is just be patient and be courteous. Quite often or not, a lot of the issues that happen on our roadways, like minor accidents, is just because people are not courteous to one another and they're very impatient and they're in a rush. And quite frankly, if you're in a rush, there's nothing that you can do to change a motor vehicle accident that's blocking up the roadway, or even an officer who is in his right to execute his duties by doing a roadblock. You just have to wait your turn, and we are trying our best to get it moving as quick as possible. But these checks are important, not just for the enforcement aspect of it, but also for a safety perspective. If it is that we were rushing or we didn't do a traffic stop because somebody was in a rush and we missed a drunk driver and there was a fatal accident, that would also be on us. And so, you know, you just have to be courteous, you have to be patient, and you have to understand that we are just doing our jobs.
Was it, our elder remind us, more haste, less speed?
Yes.
You know?
And there are things that you can do to avoid being late. You can leave home a bit earlier so that you are accounting for traffic issues.
I had a conversation earlier with someone. So they're down for Christmas, and every now and again they listen to the show. They send through some little comments about topics and the like. And it is, as you shared, it is Christmas, so people are going to be festive.
Absolutely.
It is, yes, at that time that some people may take license with certain things and the like. But what she was sharing is that she says she doesn't understand, in this era, with all the information that we have, with all the resources that are available to us, why so many of us will still get behind the wheel after consuming, whether it's one glass, one bottle, one whatever that thing is, even though we may think. But,
You know what? Quite often I get asked the question, how do I know if I'm over the limit?
Right.
And the truth and the fact is, you really don't. Everybody's body reacts differently to alcohol, and you don't have to be over the limit to have committed an offense. And that is the truth. We have the DUI charge, which is if you've been drinking and you're over 0.1 level, that means that you are effectively a drunk driver. But we also have a driving whilst impaired charge, and that is if you've consumed any kind of alcohol. It could even be cough syrup, and you've been operating a vehicle. Once you have some kind of levels in your system and you've met in an accident, you can be charged with driving whilst impaired. And so I think that you need to, the public in general needs to stop considering how much they need to have in order to have committed an offense, and just consider not drinking and driving, period, because there are so many things out there like the designated driver campaign this holiday that you can use in order to be safe on the roadway.
So it has to be then, from what you're sharing, a personal commitment, but a sort of a countrywide mentality that as a people,
absolutely,
we don't, whether it's prescriptive drugs, whether it's that,
true healing comes from a lifestyle change. You have to think healthier. You have to think better. And we all have to understand that when we make that decision to drink and drive, you hold not only your life, but the life of another driver, the life of a child who's in another car, the life of your passengers in your hands. You hold many lives in your hands. That car becomes even more dangerous than holding a loaded gun.
Yeah, and as you shared to the National Drug Council through their program, we know the Hope Foundation have their park and ride program announced. There are opportunities for people to
absolutely,
and if you're out, in a group, be that person who is going to be the one who isn't drinking.
Or get yourself a friend like me. I have several friends who are non-drinkers, and they like to go out with me because I'm awesome company. And so, I just utilize them. I'd be like, come on, guys, come and take me out. And there are several people I know who don't drink for different reasons. Some of them for health, some of them because they're on a fitness regime that prohibits them from drinking. You guys, you need to network and find yourself these people.
Some years ago, some colleagues were sharing that it was. I think there were going to be a couple of weddings and different events that were ongoing. So a bunch of them, would go out, and each weekend someone took turns. It just like they were doing for the ride share into work. This week I drive, next week you drive. So even that rotated out so that find some way to be safe.
Yeah, or carpool in a taxi.
Even better.
Yeah, carpool in a taxi, because when you break up that taxi fare, it becomes little to nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, sacrificing one drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as I listen to you, it is the issue of people who may not honestly understand that they are impaired, or they may not realize that, yes, they're probably not over the limit, but they still commit an offense. But then there are other behaviors on the road when it comes to road safety and traffic issues.
Yeah.
The lack of courtesy, the different things that happen. How do we address that?
We can only point it out to people, because that in itself, whilst drinking and driving is a lifestyle change and something you need to consider on a day throughout your life and not just for a particular event, courtesy and patience is just something that you constantly have to point out to people, because it's an attitude adjustment. And some people may not even realize that this is the way that they behave or this is the way that they drive, but you do. And so, every so often we just have to point it out and be like, look, the reason why there is so much blockage and backup by Prospect is because, nobody's letting out the people that are in the sides. And so those people then begin to force their way in. So if you just, let one or two people in, the traffic will flow smoother.
Yeah. And I think as you shared out too, as we speak to PC Julian Power with our CIPS, that individual that decides, maybe there are two lanes going in the same direction, decides to weave in and out and get a hit, that person may get a hit at the expense of the other 100 cars behind, because as you're weaving in, others are braking, and that has a knock-on effect. So just be patient, courteous.
And then that person who is weaving in and out is going to end up, in the hands of an officer, and they're going to complain that, they're being stopped by an officer in rush hour, but it's because of the way that you behave.
Could I ask of you, not for the information now, and whether it's a statistic that you have available, and whether it's one that if you do it, you would be able to make public, but on behalf of the lady, I call her a young lady, but she's by no means that young, she says, although healthy, thank you. She said that there was a time it came on when she would first visit, that nobody in her mind, and she was very, and I share this because sometimes you hear from people like that, you take it for granted. Nobody would drive unless they had a license or the vehicle was insured. She says, she remember important first time a vehicle, you get it from the port, and you used to drive it, and there was this almost concern. So you would get your car insured first before license, and it was quick from one spot to the next. She's mindful that over the years that attitude, seemingly from press reports, has changed. That it would seem that people are driving without license, with a car being insured. And
she's absolutely correct.
And I thought, we seem to become accepting of that to some extent in our society. Well, have we?
Well, we're not accepting of it, of course.
Okay.
Not in the police, no. And I recently actually got some information from Inspector Yearwood from the Traffic Department, where I think close to 40 persons were charged, were informed that they would be charged for driving without being without a proper registration.
So they will be charged at some point.
Yeah. So they were warned for intended prosecution.
Okay.
I think over the course of 2 weeks since the 1st of December, 40 persons.
Yeah.
So we're definitely not accepting of it, because it is unfair to the people who are legal with their vehicles, who have paid their registration, who have gotten their license up to date, who have gotten that vehicle tested and is all the way through correct, who have paid for their insurance. It is unfair for those people to be driving on the roadway with other persons who have not, who have been showing blatant disregard for the law.
And as I listened to her, and we were talking about some other things, and I liked the fact that people like her, not just the intellect, but the genuine love and interest for the country. Sometimes we'll say to you, be mindful that these practices don't become, my words, kind of commonplace every day and accepted, because they affect the quality of life. They also affect, the issues of liability, and then the knock on, as you just shared, cost to the insurance premiums for the others. You're driving in a vehicle without license, without insurance. Are you subjecting yourself to added liability, personal liability, because you've caused an accident? Now that person is going to sue you in that capacity. Is your home at risk? Is there other issues that could bankrupt you?
Yeah, and the other issue is, and it's something that we've seen quite often or not, is that when you don't have, say for instance, insurance coverage on your vehicle, and you are at fault for an accident that have occurred, that person who is your victim has nothing to gain, no hospital bill coverage, so on and so forth, because you didn't have insurance. You didn't think to go and get insurance for your vehicle. And then they're going to be subject to a lengthy court system trying to get whatever compensation they deserve from you.
Yeah, and it's not your insurance, it's going to be from you now. You personally will be...
Exactly.
And
a lot of times it's tens and thousands of dollars.
It can be very costly. But then, why subject yourself to that? Now, I know people complain about the cost and the like, but what is more costly? Paying the license and the insurance, or suffering in jail, or paying some other fine, or paying some other high.
And you know what, Sterling? We have a proper and developing public transportation system, right? And if you cannot afford insurance, and if you cannot afford to license and register your vehicle, then maybe that you need to be utilizing our public transportation system until such a time that you can afford it.
Yeah, well, there are options, and I would, if you have time at other points, maybe after the break, you share with us some more. Is that a couple of
Absolutely. Yeah. I do want to get into some consumer safety.
Yes. It is Christmas, and some people tend to... well, I thought afterwards. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. You can also WhatsApp 925-3261. PC Jordan Power is our guest. A few more tips from the RCIPS as to how we can enjoy, how we can be mindful, how we can be respectful and courteous, and hopefully safe. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Hi, this is Jody Ann Powery from the Media and Communications Unit with RCIPS, and I just want to wish everyone a safe and happy holidays and a happy new year.
Police stop my car. Police stop my car. The police made me stop. Walk a straight line and blow a balloon up.
Remember, don't drink and drive, and lock your doors.
For years, we have been promised
prosperity on the heels of rapid development.
However, last year, over 2,000 Caymanian families
required the services of the Needs Assessment Unit.
Now, we are faced with the largest capital project in our history.
At the risk of destroying what attracts people to our shores.
The government's Destination Performance Report states that annually
1.8 million cruise visitors contributed
$154 million in revenue,
whereas
450,000 stayover visitors contribute $497 million.
$497 million.
It is time for a national development plan.
It is time for a national development plan.
And better decision making.
That takes into account our human, financial, and ecological resources.
Where we will no longer be driven like a boat without a rudder.
We don't need handouts from cruise lines.
Get your answers.
Sign the petition. Sign the petition. Support the referendum.
Support the referendum.
Support the referendum.
And let's build our future together.
Together.
Brand Source Home Gallery has been appointed the exclusive Cayman supplier for Duravit bathroom products. Duravit is the leading international manufacturer of bathroom ceramics, tubs, and showers, recognized around the world for beautiful, functional products. Winner of top industry awards, Duravit collaborates with leading European designers to provide the most elegant and innovative bath products. If you're ready to bring style, comfort, and innovation to your bathroom, visit Brand Source Home Gallery to see the new Duravit showroom and meet the in-house bath designer. Whether you're planning a functional family bathroom or a personal spa retreat, browse the Duravit collection and be inspired. Brand Source Home Gallery, delivering a new standard in custom designed bathrooms. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
The only bad workout is the one that never happens.
Make 2019 the year you commit to fitness. Let King Sports Center put you on the right track with their Get Fit 2019 sale from December 15th to January 15th. 2-for-1 Powerhouse Gym memberships for $600 or a single membership for $325. And call them to find out how you can take an additional $100 off this sale price. 946-5464 or visit kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, providing your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs. Remember, fit is not a destination. It is a way of life.
Look, I can't afford to miss this one. The Sport Bay Committee presents the second annual Sport Bay Christmas Homecoming, December 15th through the 25th.
It's a place called Christmas Island.
Featuring 3 days of traditional Cayman Black Christmas festivities, including live music by district musicians, home decorating contest, children's party, homecoming party, carol service, seniors gift distribution, singspiration, old-time kitchen dance, and fireworks to close off the year. For more information on dates and locations, call 925-3250. The Sport Bay Christmas Homecoming, December 15th through the 25th. It's time to come on home to the Brack again.
Going back to the Brack again.
Retain your peace of mind by installing a reliable generator, knowing that your family is safe and secure during a power outage. At Corporate Electric, we care about the well-being of our customers and their loved ones. We are the official distributor of Kohler SDMO generators in the Cayman Islands and can conduct a free assessment of your house to suggest the perfect fit. Call us at 946-2277. Visit our website or the Facebook page for more details.
Radio Cayman News, Year in Review.
I, Kilpatrick.
Anwar Chowdhury.
Martin Keith Roper.
It is a worrying development.
Not just the financial industry that is at risk, but our very existence.
The civil service is focused on correcting the failures.
Government is insisting on pursuing this ill-advised course of action.
We will answer any questions about the cruise birthing facility.
Beneficial ownership, arrests in government, cruise birthing facilities, 3 governors, 1 year. Catch an in-depth look back at these stories and more during Radio Cayman's Year in Review.
Radio Cayman's Year in Review, proudly brought to you by CUC. You've got the power. Health City, transforming healthcare, changing lives. Michael Webster of Cayman Insurance Center. Don't take chances with your family's future. And FSH Design. Let your imagination grow with FSH Design.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. In a few more minutes, we're getting good information from PC, Jody, and Powery. PC, we do have a call online. Hey, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Hello.
Feliz Navidad.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I am great. Question for you, sir, and the good lady.
Yes, sir.
Intersection at Owen Roberts Drive onto Dorsey Drive. It is not even, forget about Christmas. It's bad.
That's the one, sorry, just make sure, that's the one by the airport post office?
No, this is the one by where Dorsey Drive meets Shedden Road. But it backs up all the way to Owen Roberts Drive.
Okay.
So people go down McLennan, and it doesn't really help. It does create more problems. The roundabout is very small.
Yes.
Is it possible we could get a constable there to direct traffic? It would make things a lot easier for everybody.
Well, we can... What times do you experience this kind of backup?
From about 4 p.m. Till possibly 5:36.
Well, I can definitely make that request for you. I can't guarantee that we'll have the resources to guarantee a constable there every single day. But we can definitely try to accommodate it some kind of way.
Thank you for that. We have another problem. Where Dorsey Drive meets North Sound Road, opposite to Parker Tibbetts there.
Yes.
That is every afternoon from 12:30 until about 3, and then it gets back again in the afternoon.
Yes.
I don't know where these cars come from.
It's lunchtime.
It is if you get by what we used to call Stereo City, then take you 15 minutes to get to Parker.
Yes. That's okay.
That's another area that we need to do something, because after you pass Parker, it's fine going down to the roundabout by A.L. Thompson, and no problem. It's just to get past Mr. Parker's place. And he's not holding up the traffic, I know that.
Yes. I'll definitely make mention of this to the traffic inspector and see what he can do. It's probably going to be maybe a joint initiative between the police and the NRA to try to solve that issue, because it might be a structural issue as well as a traffic issue.
You know, every time we have a problem, we want to build more roads. Think about it carefully.
Yes, thank you.
In the road. The only other gripe I have is people blocking the intersections. In other words, it's a roundabout or it's a traffic light, and they're trying to squeeze through. In some countries, if you get caught in the middle and the light is red, you get a ticket.
Yes.
So maybe we should look at that. Not that I want to get any tickets or give anybody any tickets.
But I'm sure that you don't do that.
I try not to, but, you know, simple things people could do.
Yeah.
If you come to the intersection, don't block it.
Absolutely.
But how about Merry Christmas and Sterling? Same to you and yours.
Thank you too, sir. And thank you for listening, for sharing your thoughts with us, sir. Merry Christmas.
You all.
Amen. Yeah, I appreciate the call of sharing. And with that, 2 more came in. Can I share them with you?
Yes,
all
sure.
Right. I was trying to read this. Hopefully I got it right. Breezy Castle. And I guess Owen Roberts Drive, whatever. When you go down, there's a hidden junction.
Yes.
I know that's Redgate Road. I'm not quite sure. I'm just trying to think where as I read it. But if the person saying that intersection there, as you enter onto that new link between the airport and back out onto whatever that's going, it's kind of, you know, you come up on it fast, and he said he almost had a mishap there a couple of times.
Yeah, the issue with Breezyway is that not very many people know that roadway is there, and so it's difficult for sometimes it is difficult for persons to come out of there as well, because there's sort of like an obstruction there. But I'm glad that they've mentioned it, so we'll try to look into it. It's shrubs, like trees, and so when persons are coming out, they can't see
the road
towards the airport,
right, so
and they come out and
All right. There are 2 more, but there's a caller. I can read that for you, but let's take the caller first. We're speaking to PC Julianne Power. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Oh.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good to hear from you, Mom.
It's funny that talking about today because I was actually planning to make a call whether this was going to be the topic or not about traffic, whether it's Christmas time or not. Talking about the backup of traffic and the police. The problem that we're having is that people do not know how to use the roundabout. I was always hoping that with all of the new roundabouts, you would have police out there at least directing traffic. That's a major, major problem. That's where all accidents are happening. And, just trying to get off of the roundabout and other cars backed up behind it is what's causing this major backup, no matter where you're going. And it's funny that you're talking about this. I'm actually driving, but just so that I'm on Bluetooth. Yes, because I know that would be the next question. And I'm in that area now that the gentleman was talking about. I'm approaching that area, just coming off of Eastern Avenue onto whatever this is called, coming here by Butterfield roundabout. There was a vehicle coming out of the gas station area there. And, he just somebody stopped to let him out. He just didn't come out, with courtesy. He had to smoke up all his tires. I'm still breathing in. And the car right next to the other car that let him out is the police. I beckoned to the police and I said, but here's a case for you, And he looked at me like I'm crazy. So what we really need is, like I said, not just at Christmas time. We need traffic police on the street like we used to have them, and especially now with all of these roundabouts that people do not know how to use, they don't know how to exit them especially. They seem to be very confused with the lanes that they should be in, and I'm a nervous wreck driving on them, I can tell you that. And another issue, which I know people have been calling about forever, is these minibuses. They have bus stops, but the minibuses think that they weren't built for them. They just stop wherever they want, and they just pull out in the front of the whenever they want. The laws don't apply to them clearly. And I don't know how many police they can spare, but maybe you might want to have them posted along the road where the bus stops are.
Well, as it relates to the bus stops are not regulated under the law, and so the bus drivers don't.
No, I'm not talking about the bus stops. I'm talking about the minibus driver.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah,
that's what I'm.
If you'd let me finish, perhaps you'd understand what I'm trying to
Okay.
say. People tend not to, like, for example, if they've gone to Foster's, they don't walk up to the bus stop to wait for the bus. They just sort of come out of the exit and stand there. The buses should not be allowed to stop and pick them up there. They should only be allowed to stop and pick them up at the bus stop. And if police were in those areas, I'm not saying taking charge of the bus stop, but since it's happening in those areas, maybe they could curb some of that disrespectfulness to the law that these mini drivers are displaying. And that too is a major problem. They don't think the laws apply to them, and it seems to be all of them. So maybe that is something you might want to ask the traffic police to take a look at, in addition to teaching people how to use the roundabout.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. Thanks very much.
Okay.
But this is, as the caller had it, traffic, and as you said.
Well, and I can address the bus stop thing as well, because I did go to the NRA seminar this year, and I did pick up on a few things. And what I was trying to explain to the caller, she was obviously pretty upset, so I just let her get it all out there, is that even though there are bus stops that have been put down, those bus stops were a project from the Rotary Club of Grand Cayman, and they are not regulated under the law. And so the bus drivers are not obligated to only stop at these bus stops. And because there is no regulations as to where buses can stop, the police cannot enforce that they stop only at the bus stops. And so that is something that needs to be developed in the law before we can actually prosecute anyone for stopping outside of a bus stop. You understand where I'm getting at? So that is what I was trying to explain. And I know that it is something that we have been working towards. It's just not something that has happened as
fair
yet.
enough. I guess like so much in our country, we don't always do it the way we should be done. But perhaps somewhat, again, for a little bit of courtesy, you see sometimes
Absolutely.
the person 15 feet from the bus stop instead of walking to the shelter and the shade of the bus stop.
Yeah.
Things we can
there are things members of the public can do, and again, it's just I think that a lot of it is pointing it out to people. Look, if there's a bus stop in your view, you probably should just walk towards that bus stop or the nearest one, because that is not only is it a convenient place or an inconvenience for a bus to stop for you at a particular junction or area, but it may be safest for you as a pedestrian on the road to be in an area where there's enough space for a vehicle to pull off and for you to stand.
I guess what I'm seeing is an opportunity now for us to properly assess not only where the bus stops are now, to see whether maybe they could be repositioned, perhaps the installation of new ones, but equally the legislating of them so that there is some regulation. Mr. Fox, are you telling me from those signals that we have you see that, Ms. Julianne? What do you think that means?
Break.
A break? You sure?
I don't know.
Is that what it means?
It is?
That's what it means.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back,
okay,
we'll have you share with us for a few more minutes. Okay. You're so generous with your time, and what you have to share is so important. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Stay connected and enjoy your favorite holiday moments with Flow. Make Christmas memories great with the best phones at amazing holiday prices. Get the Samsung Galaxy A8 from $43.25 a month, or the S9 from $70.75 a month from Flow. Sign up for Flow Quad Play to share up to 50 gigs of data and 5,000 calling minutes. It's amazing value and great gifts for loved ones or yourself. Plus, plenty of chances to win Flow holiday prizes. So make it Flow for everything mobile this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
At KFC, we believe you don't have to share a last name to be a family. Whether it's an office party, holiday fete, or family gathering, enjoy KFC's fresh, hand-breaded, finger-licking good chicken. The KFC Festive Feast includes 10 pieces of original recipe or spicy chicken, creamy mashed potatoes, tasty coleslaw, and warm biscuits. KFC's holiday catering menu includes buckets of hot wings, sweet chili wings, or chicken tenders. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
This season, Vigoro is stocking something for everyone in our 2 garden centers. Christmas decorations, terrariums, succulents, ceramics, blooms, orchids, bromeliads, garden sculptures and accessories, mobiles and garden furniture, water fountains and wall art, and even fairies for the little ones. Make it a Vigoro Christmas with a gift that will be treasured forever. Vigoro on Agricola will be open on Sunday, December 23rd, 11 to 5. Both garden centers will be open on Christmas Eve till 6 p.m. Merry Christmas from Vigoro.
This Health Flash is brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Over 65 million people around the world have moderate or severe COPD, a family of diseases that includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Cleveland Clinic, Florida offers a wide range of management and treatment options for COPD, including programs focused on education, medication, smoking cessation, and pulmonary rehabilitation.
A team of experts is ready to review your symptoms and test results to develop a comprehensive treatment plan. For more information, visit clevelandclinicflorida.org.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. In the studio, PC Jodianne Porry from the RCIPS is our guest. And hopefully, as we are taken on board, I say this respectfully, you shared, for us to be a little bit more respectful, courteous,
absolutely,
considerate and patient on our roads. Is that,
Yes, and you mentioned before, while we were off air, about the middle lane on North Sound Way. And of course, again, it's not the roadway that's the problem. It's the drivers who choose to use the roadway incorrectly. That roadway is for turning. That middle lane is for turning in and out of Caribbean Plaza, in and out of Venetia Plaza, in and out of Jake Scott. It is not meant for persons to use it to get to the turning lane at the stoplight. And so, we're just asking people not to do that because it is not safe. I will mention these things to the traffic inspector so that he can be aware of the grievances that people have as it relates to the traffic issues.
But it comes back to us as road users.
Absolutely.
That lane as you reference, I think we've all seen it. People who are, whatever direction that is, where they're coming from the roundabout, going to the stoplight, coming towards the glass house. They're zipping, not just cautiously, they're zipping down the lane.
And that is a 35 mile per hour zone. It is not 40 or 50. There's only 50 in East End and North Side. So.
But you were sharing, and please, whether in person or a phone call, whether you or whether, one of your other colleagues, let us know how we can continue to, get the message for you.
Absolutely.
But you're talking about, the whole consumer protection?
Yes, I guess we only have about 15 minutes left. Let me hurry past this. With Christmas, there's a lot of consumerism, and people are out making purchases. The businesses are a lot busier than they usually are throughout the year. And so one of the things that we want to encourage is that businesses who know that their shops will be busier, especially over this weekend and the next coming days, please double up on your security. Make sure that you have enough staff on hand to handle the amount of traffic that goes through your stores, because what you'll find is that over the holidays, people will take advantage of the crowds in stores to do petty thefts like shoplifting and that kind of stuff. And also, please make sure that when you are throughout the busy season that you deposit your money from your store regularly, not just at the end of the day, because that's the time that criminals, specifically robbers, choose to commit crimes against your stores. It's when they think that you have the most cash on hand. And so you'll minimize your loss if you make deposits throughout the day, periodically, and not routinely, because routines can be picked up on. All
right. I believe you're sharing that we have another caller. Are you up for the phone call?
Sure.
All right, let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
I am good. And yourself?
I'm blessed and thankful, indeed.
Great. Good afternoon, young lady.
Good afternoon, sir.
I don't know if anyone else on there with you, but...
No.
Well, we always invite the Holy Spirit in the studio.
Question. I've heard someone say, I want to make a statement and a question all in one, but how many people, what's the population of Grand Cayman? Dwayne, do you really know?
Too many? I'm sorry, you wanted a number? Oh.
Yeah.
No, sir, I don't know.
Some rough estimate.
It's
80,000.
No, I think it's between 50 and 60, isn't it?
No, it's probably like 80,000.
Yeah?
I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Dwayne, you hit it spot on.
Yeah.
You hit it spot on.
Well, I think it's probably like either 3,475.6.
Somewhere around that area.
Yes, sir.
That's a very specific number, Dwayne.
Yeah, because I live on Sound Road. Well, I do my business on Sound Road, and I have never in my life seen so much traffic coming out of Sound Road. And it starts from, I would say, around 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. Now, that is the hour that people should be at work. So I'm wondering whether we have that many entrepreneurs in Cayman, that they're always on the road doing business because they're not at work. They're always on the road from 2 o'clock onwards. Matter of fact, some days it starts from 12. I can understand lunchtime. But 2, 3 o'clock, people should be on the job. So I'm thinking, I would venture to say 60% of Cayman population are business people, entrepreneurs. What else I want to talk about? Yeah. And that is just traffic coming out from the airport area, which is above CUC. I don't know what type of businesses over there that could create so many people coming from that direction. But there's a lot of them. I mean, I would venture to say maybe 1,500 to 2,000 cars within that space of time coming out of Sound Road. You mentioned the bus stop, young lady.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that there is not a law or the police have no jurisdiction over telling these buses that they have to stop at a bus stop.
No regulation, yes.
No regulation. That's what I was searching for. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I have never in my life heard anything like that. I can see why this country is so upside down. So are we going now to change that? That's what I want to know.
Well, absolutely. It is something that has been on the books and discussions for some time. And so...
Hold, strike a pin. Did you say discussion?
Yes.
How long?
I can't say specifically how long that it has been discussed, but it has been an issue that we have identified and have been trying to get a regulation for some time.
And you can't get it. What a shame.
Well, we're working on it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
I think that's all I want to say. I was kind of a little baffled when you made that statement that there were no regulations. It was not regulated by the law or police or whatever. Kind of strange, isn't it? That a bus stop, these buses can pull off anywhere off on the road and stop in the middle of the road, some of them. That to me is
well,
ridiculous.
Stopping in the middle of the road is an offense in itself.
Well,
that's obstruction.
I don't see anybody getting arrested for it. That's another
issue. It's a ticketable offense.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll let you go. Thank you. Thanks for listening to me.
Thank you for sharing, and Merry Christmas to you. Hopefully we'll get a chat with you.
Same to you all.
All the best, sir.
Have a great Christmas.
Have a good Christmas. Bye.
Yeah,
I understand the caller's comments and frustration.
Yes.
I would like to believe, based on what you said earlier, that if we as a people, so as a motoring public specifically, a little bit more courtesy, a little bit more consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as that person who is going to be using public transport, well, the buses, because it's not really public transport, if we would maybe be a little bit more convenient and a little considerate as to where we go.
Yes.
For the drivers as well.
The drivers as well. So it's not. It's the customers for these buses who need to have consideration as to where they stop. They stop to wait for buses, and because in it and of itself, if a bus driver sees a customer, he's going to be tempted to stop.
That's a potential revenue source, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, they do also need to consider the safety aspect of it and the inconveniences that they're creating on the roadway.
I mean, I won't belabor it, but I can understand the general public, as a caller just shared. Wait a minute, there are bus stops there, so you assume that they're there and went through this process. No.
Yeah, they were an initiative that was brought on by the Rotary Club of Grand Cayman. They were a project that was developed through them, and it's a continuous project. And so ever so often you'll see some new ones, like the one in Savannah by the countryside. And so no, there is no regulation at this time for that.
Well, I always see, it's not just a challenge, it's an opportunity. So maybe an initiative to say, well, reciting someone, move it 5 feet down the road, maybe remove it altogether, maybe put in more. But again, it's just if you're looking with, a perspective of the greater good, so much becomes clearer.
Absolutely.
But anyway, what do we do?
But Dwayne, I just wanted to get back to that real quickly because I know that we're running out of time.
Yes,
one thing that I want to say to customers who are purchasing things like nice electronics for their houses and as Christmas gifts, and who are receiving things, please do not put your boxes out by your garbage, because that is only advertising what is in your house, and it is making you a target for burglars. Okay, so no TV boxes, no tablet boxes, no cell phone boxes outside in your garbage or out by your gate or whatever the case is, waiting for the garbage truck to come around. Take them to a dumpster somewhere other than in your neighborhood.
All right. Well, I'm hopeful that we will indeed have a safe, merry, Christmas.
I hope so too. And I know I didn't get through very many of these safety tips, but we will have some on our website. So please feel free to go on our website, www.rcips.ky. We have a crime prevention page, and you can have a look at that. And we also have a mobile app now.
Okay.
Yes, we do. We have a mobile app, and it's in the Google Play Store, and it's also in the iTunes, and it's free of charge. So please feel free to download it, and you'll get notifications whenever we put out new press releases and new updates on the website. You'll get that on your mobile app. If you have the app, you'll get the information off the bat. So I encourage everyone to download our mobile app and send us some information. We have a submit a tip function, so please do send us some information, and you can send pictures and videos from our submit a tip, and it can be anonymous. You don't have to leave your information. Yes.
No, just a GOD. But thank you.
Thank you. One last thing. I want to also remind our listeners in Cayman-Brac, because I know that Radio Cayman is the number one station in the Cayman-Brac and Little Cayman. Yes, and yes, absolutely. Our 24-hour number for the Cayman-Brac Police Station is 926-0635. And so if you need to get in touch with an officer and you haven't been able to reach them at the regular office number, then you can contact them at that number.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very, very much, Mel.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Okay.
All right. Let's pause and take a break. When we come back, let's have some open line. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Okay. Cayman's cruise tourism is not at risk.
Not at risk.
Not at risk if we do not build the piers.
This is according to the Vice President of Carnival Cruise Lines.
The vast majority of cruise ships will continue to be smaller ships that will tender for the foreseeable future.
Of the 22 ships on order by Carnival Cruise Lines, only three are mega-class ships destined for the Caribbean.
It is also a fact that the fourth largest mega ship in the world, the MSC Margavalia,
will call on Cayman from October 2019 by tender.
Cayman's thriving cruise sector has grown steadily by 14%.
We will not lose any current revenue without the piers.
But we may jeopardize our stay-over tourism,
which generates 76% of our tourism revenue.
Is a cruise pier really needed?
There are currently too many unanswered questions.
Our government must get this right for us now and future generations.
Make an informed decision. It's your constitutional right.
It is your constitutional right. Sign the petition, support the referendum, and let's build our future together.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman-Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Police receive a report that a red and black Sea-Doo RXTX 300 jet ski has broken away from its mooring off West Bay Road and is now missing. Police said the jet ski was last seen in the water off Watercolors Complex on West Bay Road sometime on Sunday, December 16th, and was discovered missing yesterday afternoon. In international headlines, Britain's government ramped up preparations today for the possibility the country could leave the European Union in 101 days without a divorce deal, putting soldiers on standby and warning thousands of businesses and millions of households to get ready for the worst. With the country's departure set for March 29th, it remains unclear whether British lawmakers will approve the divorce agreement that Prime Minister Theresa May's Conservative government has negotiated with the EU. The alternative, a no-deal Brexit, risks plunging the British economy into recession and touching off chaos at the borders. Some harsh words from Michael Flynn today, U.S. President Donald Trump's first national security advisor. A federal judge today said he could not hide his disgust over Flynn lying to the FBI. The judge told Flynn he would take into account his extensive cooperation with the government in sentencing, which includes 19 meetings with investigators and a 33-year military career that included service in Iraq and Afghanistan. But he also said he was forced to weigh other factors, too, including Flynn's decision as national security advisor to lie to the FBI on the premises of the White House about contacts he had with the Russian ambassador to the U.S. Those are your headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Trot on down to A.L. Thompson's Appliance Gallery to get a free turkey. Simply purchase a Whirlpool major home appliance for at least $500, and as a thank you, A.L. Thompson's and Whirlpool will give you a turkey as the star of your complete holiday meal. It's a deal worth gobbling up while supplies last at A.L. Thompson's, Georgetown.
For more than 30 years, Rotary Central has worked along with our business community, business advisors, media, and schools, introducing over 500 students annually to the universe of business. Students are guided to create, operate, and deliver products to market. Today, thousands of Caymanian business professionals point to junior achievement as their introduction to business. When you support Rotary Central fundraisers like the Music Extravaganza, you support Cayman's next generation of business professionals. High schoolers learn human resources, sales, marketing, accounting, compliance, legal skills, manufacturing. Cayman's next generation business professionals find purpose and get inspiration through Rotary Central Junior Achievement programs. Junior Achievement, another inspiration project by Rotary Central.
Is this thing working? Give me some sound over here.
Every Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m., Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show for your radio, featuring Will Sinatra.
Now, sound is everything.
Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop, reggae, and calypso, and an entertainment trivia section. The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of the Cayman Islands Football Association. CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. And again, a special thanks to the RCIPS and to PC Julianne Poirier for joining us just then. Hopefully, as a people, we start to be a little bit more kind and considerate and courteous on the roads so that we are safer, but we enjoy it. My colleague Raymond Singh sits in for the last. Well, you're welcome to sit in for the rest of the show, or
the next victim.
Yeah, if you get pulled away, I'm at work. You see, I'm on the job.
You're at play. You're not at work. This is your playground.
Well, let's say if you like what you do, you'll enjoy it, and you won't seem like work.
That's very true words.
People don't understand. I'm a very reserved, private individual. I don't like publicity. So I never thought I would be in the media. In fact, I always shied away from the media. But hey, I have to embrace it if I can, and at least be as respectful and as helpful and as as effective. So if there's a way I can make it better, let me know. I might actually take it on.
So I got to put you on the hot seat.
Go right ahead, man. Go right ahead.
Coming from a background where you shied away from media, and now being the face of talk radio and the voice of talk radio for Cayman. What would you say to yourself 20 years ago when you were shying away from the spotlight? What words of wisdom would you convey to yourself then to make that transition maybe a little more palatable?
I don't know that I've made the transition necessarily.
That's even worse.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I have no qualms about if let's say there's a gathering and somebody needs to say something to the gathering for some reason. If I know what it is that needs to be said and nobody's willing to do it, I'll step up. Hopefully convey it in a way that is audible, comprehensible, and effective. The first time I was introduced to the word inevitable, I wasn't a teenager. I was in school and I was a teacher. And had it not been for her smile and her endearing, nurturing way, I probably would have thought that she was saying something not too complimentary. And she proceeded to say, you'll end up in public service. It's inevitable. And that was how she introduced the word to me. I've always believed that, I wanted to be in public service. I didn't think whether it would be elected or appointed. It doesn't really matter. And you fast forward to today, for instance. This isn't for me. This isn't about me. I facilitate this. Hopefully, people benefit from it. I'm not looking at any kind of publicity. It's not a campaign strategy for political office, for public nomination or accolades. None of those things. I believe, and hopefully this isn't held against me, I believe if I was more like some people who like the sound of their voices, the picture, in the media, who embrace the social promotion aspect, the show could be perhaps maybe a wider reach. So you're social mediaing and all these other things, and it's not me, right? Doesn't mean that there's no scope and a place for it. So going forward, every year I think, how can I embrace that? How do I leverage that? It's not my preference. This little break I took the other day was perfect from the perspective that I didn't have to, I didn't want to see the digital screen at all. I end up having to, out of prudence, to make sure that the banking is attended to. And I love the technology. But to answer your question directly, it's not something that I've embraced. It's not something that I think I've prepared. I remember in university having a chance to, take a couple of classes, and you get a chance to look at different subjects. And there was one for radio and television, and I could have taken it. And there was a guy, brilliant. He loves it. He still does. If I had partnered with him, it would have been easier for me because I just did what he said, and I would have got an easier A as opposed to my option. Going and dredging through the books and doing research and writing a dissertation and what have you. And he's like, why are you doing all of that? I mean, that's a lot of work. This is simple. No, that's simple for you. This is easier, comfortable for me. I didn't then, and I probably won't do it now. And if I had to do it over again, I probably would do the same thing. So to you, who is a media mogul, how do you prepare for it? How do you, let me ask you.
Becoming a mogul.
Yeah. how do you embrace this thing? Because it's not me. Just to help you along with my sort of thought process. This notion that we introduced these cameras into the studio,
yes, excellent
for our listeners. Wonderful. It's an opportunity to leverage the resource. For me, it isn't because it's scary, by no means. It's because I have a healthy respect for the truism of radio. This changes the dynamic. You're no longer here. You're now seen. Right? And if I do this to you, if people think they're watching television, then they miss it. If they're watching a radio show, then they may get it. But you can't unsee, right?
No, it's the truth. And I remember my first time being in the studio in that seat with the cameras on. We had Lynn, who was working the board, and every few minutes I'm trying to listen to the guests, and I have Lynn in my ear every few minutes saying, "You got to move your hand from your face." And as I sit here right now, my hand is right on my face. This is when I talk. This is actually how I naturally.
That's how we talk.
Like my comfortable position.
Yeah.
But he was looking at it from the camera perspective of I was actually blocking my face from the camera.
Yeah.
It changes the dynamic. And I do agree with you to some degree that there is the audio element of radio, which was always embraced. It was the nature of radio. And we had technology itself has evolved. And with it, media has evolved as well, where we see these multi-faceted areas we're probably going to see at some point. We now see the newspapers, when they first went to digital print, now they have digital videos as part of their online news portfolio.
If you look at it, right? I mean, if you look at for instance, I used to like to, my father listened to boxing on the radio. This is Howard Cosell and coming to you live, and he'll be like this with a big old headset.
Of course, yeah.
And then some years later, there's a black and white screen or something else, and the commentators included, and Howard Cosell at times would guest in there. And here's a video of somebody who was always only available to you through audio. Now the transition is different, Of
course.
We're playing to a screen. Just like our politicians are playing to the populace and all of the pundits, right? We want a sound bite. There's a lot of style, no substance, and some of them don't even have style. The sincerity, is being lost. The genuineness, the integrity, in so much.
I think to some degree you've made a very valid point. You look at whether it be politicians or primary figures in businesses, a lot of people who are in the public eye, whether it be in front of the camera on social media or on television, have a lot of times been instructed both on their body language, how they stand, what they wear.
Yeah.
They have shown how politicians throughout the U.S., they've shown the level of PR elements that go into just a decision on what color tie an official is going to wear on a certain day, because they want to make sure that the color of that tie or the pattern of that tie gravitates the most visual appeal and the biggest drawing audience.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of merit in that a lot of times we lose authenticity.
Yeah. What's interesting
of garnishing an audience.
Yeah. And it's with anything. It's when we first had telephones, for instance, we communicating with our clients via telephone, so we take instructions.
Yep.
We understand that there is this device that could distort what is being said, what is being heard, and how that message is being conveyed. And then we get the internet and emails, so very specific, please sell 5 shares of, this stock and so on, and whichever. Little scope for, misinterpretation or misunderstanding. With radio in particular, how audible is it? How do we adjust that sound? Not unlike the PA system at a public meeting with the acoustics and all the other things. The conversation with two individuals, much easier to understand what's being said, to convey the message effectively. Being sent through this channel of the microphone, through the system and out into the speakers of the listening ear of that public, we can often mishear, misconstrue, and it can create a different paradigm. But hey, we get there, right?
We do. I mean, at the end of the day, the technology does change, things do evolve, and with it, like anything else in nature or the world, if you don't evolve, you will perish out at the end of the day at some point. And
yep. Well, sitting here, it's I always believe, to maybe add sort of an answer to your question, I always believe that whatever you do it to the best. You always do it with a view of trying to improve.
Absolutely.
Not to rest on your laurels, but not to be so driven that you never enjoy your successes. But you try to always excel, whatever that is, right? So if you're playing a football match and you win, your next opponent, well, what can you do better in that next game? Maybe you rest a little bit more. Maybe you try a different strategy in relation to how you formulate your attack or you strengthen your defense. You always try to improve, right? If you come off a winning season and you won a championship, can you repeat it? And can you repeat that? So that maybe you have 3 or 4 wins back to back. Not everybody does that. People see it as this thing that, oh well, they got it today and there's nothing for tomorrow. I have a different perspective. I always believe that you can be better. Not, and some people misunderstand that.
But you're absolutely right. If we can look at, basketball is very prominent here. Football is very prominent here. If we were to take any of the top players, whether we want to take LeBron James, we want to talk about, or Ronaldo, any player we want to talk about of that elite level that you find a lot of people have a lot of admiration for, they have not stopped practicing. They have not stopped striving to improve. They don't stop working on their skills. And they're always out. They're not necessarily out to win at times. They're out to improve at the same time because they understand that the more they improve, the better chance they can compete, the better chance they have of achieving those successes that they desire.
I like how you share that because whether it's the athlete or whether it's the entertainer, you look at, whether it was Michael Jackson, Mick Jagger, Rod Stewart, any they're constantly honing their craft.
Constantly. And
they're trying to improve, right? Sustainability, longevity, continuity. Not only the things we should see when we talk about, the economy or the politics. Is this thing going to add value not just now and now only, but what about tomorrow and the next generation? And if you look at some buildings that are being repurposed, now they say, well, it's part of that legacy. The approach maybe in some countries, a building is 100 or 1,000 years old. In some countries, that building is 25 years old, 50 years old, time to knock it down and rebuild it. Why? Mr. Bill Adams used to talk about the cathedral builders. It may take 50 years to build a building, but it's being built with a purpose and for a cause and with a perspective and with a vision, with a passion, with integrity, and then it lasts for centuries. Is that what we're doing with our society, or have we become, so sort of short-sighted and self-serving that it's only now? Literally, we're cutting off our noses to spite our faces, and we're getting that short-term gain, that huge windfall, but it's all for naught because it's gone tomorrow.
That's to be very fair, that is the fundamental question I think that every adult at some point realizes they're adult when they're faced with that decision of. That's a very responsible question. That's a very responsible scenario that you have to take full responsibility for. Are you making the decision to plan for your future and forego the immediate gratification, or are you seeking out the? And you can divide that across political lines.
Yeah.
You can divide that across religious lines. You could divide that across economic lines. It applies to everything. It's not a single area of society it doesn't apply to once you're an adult.
And what's interesting, and I'm glad that you referenced the adult, because it should be the adult. I think hopefully it's expected that the adult, the mature, responsible adult, will be the ones, But I'm so glad that there are so many of our youth, not just the high school student, not just the, graduating college student who's now going to be entering the workplace, but, maybe even under 40. I still say that's young, right? But the under 20s, and even in some instances, that early, preteen. And to have had an opportunity recently again to engage some of them when we look at issues that affect the economy as well as the environment, the Barcas issue, for instance, right? What I think is sort of galvanizing with that is that it seems to be this thing that irrespective of where you live, whether you are, in the West Bay electoral district, or whether you're a Caymanian, or whether you are from this particular economic bracket, whether you're a frequent visitor to the Barcas, whether you're in the tourism sector, it seems that a lot of people are cognizant, have taken an interest and considering what is the impact now and in the future, and how does it. I want to read some of you. Sure. You can comment if you wish. Sure, and for those who are listening, the other voice you heard is Raymond Singh. Hopefully he's not in too much of a trouble, but it's good to, to have company. To share a thought.
Thank you.
And if you see this as, two people being pensive and waxing eloquently. Well, great. If you see there's, two jokers just wasting time, well, one man's meat, this is another man's poison. And not poison either, poison. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. You can weigh in with us. Let me read this to you. I'll try to do it verbatim, right? If I can read this word for word, it says, if Cabinet, and referring to the application for the coastal works license to remove the 4 acres of in the replenishment zone up in Barkas. It says, if Cabinet approves this, so we intend to have a sit-in over 4 acres of total grass. We will camp out there to prevent this quote-unquote trespass and rape of our property. So that's a promise, and our rights are going to exercise them. So we're going to exercise our rights. Right? Now, this is a public that perhaps speaks in a tone that has been unfamiliar and unheard of in the past, where they're questioning, is it, time for people to be a little more serious? Now, I had a passing conversation with someone earlier, and she's a very, very, I don't know if long time is the right word to use, so frequent and recurrent visitor who's been coming here for forever and a day, and who stays for extended periods and the like. And I believe genuinely has a love and a true affinity for the country and its people, and obviously the vested interest of investments and the like that the Cayman economy and the financial structure provides. Great. But sees what Cayman is, what it was, what it could be, and some of the changes. And she has shared a number of times that it's unnerving to see that the populace is being ignored with respect to certain things. So when she shared that it would seem as the government proceeds with its plans to look at the port, as a government should do. We think we're going to be doing this because it's the thing to do. And then there's the public saying, but hold on, maybe we need to have some way in on this. Where will that come in? And she was asking the question, as we go into the break, she was asking the question, is the UK, as the administering power, in this move that she thought is starting to become more evident? She has knowledge of the Constitution as a lawyer and the UK and all that, and understand that we operate by convention as opposed to some other countries where we have written. And you do a practice, convention, it becomes accepted over time, and so that's the order of the day. That's how we operate, just like the UK. And so more and more autonomy is being vested, devolved into our local governance, right? And is this an instance where that should vest within are elected, or should the administrative power, the UK, take a little closer look? Not to micromanage, but to say, you're going to be spending a lot of money, so how is that going to play out long term? And where is that? And there is a comment I may share with you, but Fox is saying, hey, take a break, stop talking.
I was going to address that on Parker's career, but okay.
Yeah,
We'll take
so
a break.
you can hang on.
Sure.
I was trying to get him to play with me, but it's not going to happen. Let's pause and take a short break. Don't lose your train of thought, Mr. Raymond.
I won't.
Stay tuned for Talk Today.
It's more than what we do. It's who we are. We were your official bank of the quincentennial celebrations in 2003. We were your Bank of the Year 4 times. We were voted as the inaugural top employer in 2010. We were the inaugural Business of the Year awardee in 2017. Who are we? We are Cayman National, your local bank, proudly serving you for over 40 years. It's because of you that our journey continues.
This Christmas, Kirk Freeport is wishing everyone peace, love, joy, and $40,000 in prizes. Win one of the multiple $5,000 and $1,000 cash prizes just for shopping at your favorite Kirk Freeport store. Purchases of $100 before noon on Christmas Eve qualify for all remaining prize draws. There's even a Rolex watch prize draw on January 2nd, and loads of other great prizes. Peace, love, joy, and the island's biggest Christmas sweepstakes. Only from Kirk Freeport. Full details on KirkFreeport.com. Merry Christmas from Kirk Freeport.
The National Drug Council and EK Online proudly promote the Designated Driver Program.
Throughout the month of December, bars and restaurants across the island will offer designated drivers complimentary soft drinks all night. Just let your server know on arrival and collect your wristband. It's that simple.
For a list of participating bars and restaurants, visit ndc.ky.
Designated drivers, we salute you.
This message is brought to you by the National Drug Council, EK Online, Jake Scott, Foster's, Caribbean Engineering, RCIPS, and Radio Cayman.
See what I'm saying? I know you've been pining for us. We're back. Okay, definition of the word pining.
Intransitive verb. 1. To lose vigor, health, or flesh, languish. 2. To yearn intensely and persistently, especially for something unattainable, they still pine for their lost wealth.
See what I'm saying? December. I know you all were pining for the show because every time I go out, I keep hearing, "May I do next show? May I do next show? I like that show, you know? I like that show." So join us for the next. See what I'm saying? This Friday, that's the next one you're coming up, the 21st of December, 2018, while we still have it. I don't know when it is. It's 12:15 to 2:30.
See what I'm saying is a special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history, and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
See, we focusing on pining because it's Christmas time and you're waiting for your loved ones to come back. And that's where you get the pine. And that's when I first heard of it. Seacher. No. Seacher. Football, playing football. Seacher.
Proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. And thanks to Raymond Singh for not just sitting in, when I was off, but sitting in now, and hopefully, as often as you can. I believe that talk is important. The action is even more so, but action after consideration. Right. So we have a little dialogue, not to be philosophical, not to be pensive, but hey, why not have a little discourse? Some thoughts from you, from what I was sharing.
Well, like we just said, it's action is extremely important. Talk is important. Educated talk is important. A lot of times we tend to see a lot of voices offering a lot of different opinions without any kind of cohesiveness. Mm-hmm. So action tends to be a little more determined in its approach. Mm-hmm. But with regards to, you mentioned the sit-in and individuals exercising their rights to protest or their ability to protest and raise awareness. On the one hand, it's very good that young individuals are recognizing that there's a greater world beyond their phones. Let me just be very blunt on that. And so for young individuals to take that approach, to recognize that beyond the Samsung or iPhone they have in their hand, an entire world exists that requires their input and their involvement and their efforts and energy. I think that's a very, very good starting point. And in this day and age of social media, situations like that, especially ones that involve the environment and sit-ins like that, can garnish a lot of attention very, very rapidly. With the internet. I mean, you can have a situation where you can have a sit-in like that, and it will explode across social media within an hour. It could be a global phenomenon. You can immediately go from 0 to 100. Now, when you're talking about a situation where you're wrestling with development and environment, that's always a tricky one. A lot of times, historians will tell you that development will usually win over the environment, whether good or bad to that. I'm just talking about historical perspective. Great writer, Carl Hyacin, great author. He was a former reporter, I believe, for the Sun Sentinel in Florida. And he wrote very, very in-depth about the development of South Florida throughout the 80s and 90s. And we're talking when all the boom was kind of going on. And he frequently wrote about it. And I would encourage anyone who's raising concerns about development or not raising concerns or pro-development to read his book. I think it's a book called Paradise Lost, which is a collection of all of his articles that he wrote about the development going on through South Florida. And it's very similar to what we see a lot of times, not just here in Cayman, but across the Caribbean.
But even now, on the West Coast, I probably other areas, but I'm familiar with on the West Coast, they're grappling with the issue of beach access. right? And this is in Florida. There are other places, and there are other issues. And the reason why I highlight that is that the things that transpire here, some people would like to believe that it was here, only in Cayman, and they say it with a derogatory, divisive tone. But it isn't. And there's very little that has happened in one place that hasn't happened elsewhere. So you can draw from examples. How did they approach it? May not be the best way, so let's not use that approach. Was that an effective measure and means and to resolve it? Hey, let's see if that can to work here. But it comes back to the willingness to work for that happy balance, that greater good. Is that what is lacking? Is it the fact that we're not looking at how my actions affect you, how your actions affect me, and how there's that need, to not just consider today, but tomorrow. Literally, some cases, the day after today, but tomorrow in terms of 100 years from now. Are we prepared to live in a thought process that considers our actions on future generations?
But even saying what you just said has a very subjective form to it. You can ask someone who is pro-port right now, and their viewpoint is that they are looking out for their future of Cayman. They're looking out for the future of the industry and economics of Cayman. You can look at someone who is against the port, and they're going to say the exact same statement, that they're looking out for future generations of the ability to access the marine ecosystem and the livelihood that's drawn from that system. And this is where we come to the variance of opinions, and it can become a very big mess very quickly.
I'm glad you mentioned a port. There are two individuals. I won't name them simply because people will probably get distracted with the names. But I consider them friends. Certainly they are cordial to me. Hopefully I am respectful to them. One I know is very, very much pro-port, and the other very, very, very much opposed to the process, the concerns. But they both signed the petition. Now, I haven't been sufficiently courageous enough to try to bring the two together to have a conversation, right? But I asked both separately at different times, why did you sign it, right? And if I had recorded what he said, it would almost be verbatim. If I could recall it, it would always sound eloquent. But they simply said that this is a way for democracy to be demonstrated, that signing the petition indicates that this is something for the public. The potential economic impact, the environmental, the social, the cost of building and maintaining. They both share the view that projects of this nature are public projects. It's for the wider public to have a say. It's not for one sector. It's not just for the government alone. One of them, the proponent, put forward the perspective that it would be, just like how we talked about certain aspects within the Constitution, it would be, he said, incumbent for any amendment of our Constitution that not just the dollar value of a project, but also his view, what could conceivably the national security should be issues to be decided by the referendum. It would be easy on a politician to say, okay, we're going forward because we have the mandate, or we're not going to. And I've been thinking about his view, because he says, end of the day, these are projects that are going to be, perhaps paid for over generations. It's going to span different political administrations, and it's going to involve, a lot of impact on all facets of our society. So why should it be just, within the remit or realm of one particular administration or one particular portfolio or one particular thing, have it weighed in? And his view was that it's not going to make it any more costly. It's not going to delay it that significantly. It's just going to make it that much more meaningful because they get a chance to galvanize and to have that buy-in. I was thinking about that, two people who are diametrically opposed, right? Polarizing as it is, but yet agree on the need for a public, decision.
It's not extremely uncommon to find that. In most situations where you'll find polarizing viewpoints, whether we're talking about Republicans and Democrats, or we're talking about men and women and gender issues, whether we're talking about, you name it, any kind of social issues, any kind of issues that have these polarizing views, it usually tends to be polarizing on some subsects, but there tends to be more common ground than anything else. People who are Republican or Democrats will will tend to say they want certain values from their government. And if you take those values and actually compare them side by side, they're almost identical a lot of times. It's how they go about achieving those values.
Indeed,
That tends to be a little different. Now, what road are we taking to get to that point? You talk about, and I'll go back to that same analogy I guess used of the Republicans and Democrats. You have the Republicans talking about smaller government, less exercise of control over certain situations. And then you have on the Democrats' side screaming about more control on certain areas, but less control on certain rights. And there's these, so you'll have on those scenarios, and it's not uncommon, I'm not entirely shocked to hear that you have your two individuals who have completely opposite viewpoints, but have found a common ground in how they're going about achieving that.
I guess in the end, we are more alike than we are different.
Far more, and that's the case scenario. It's those finite differences that tend to start a lot of wars.
Well, Ray, thank you very much, man, and I enjoy your company. For those who are listening, well, before I go, any closing thoughts for you?
No, thank you for having me on the show again today. Perfect. I appreciate it, and thanks to all our listeners.
Thank you, and to our listeners, come back tomorrow. Join us again after the midday news and midday meditation. Tomorrow's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday already.
It's Wednesday already tomorrow.
Yeah,
wow.
And it's if I'm not mistaken, I think we have 2 more weeks until 2019, and chop, 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 it's flying by.
Silver Fox, you better play a good song, man. Turn back the hands of time. All right, to our listeners, if you're out and about, on behalf of the RCIPS, PC, Julianne Powery, and us here at Talk Today, please be safe on our roads, be courteous and respectful, be a little patient. Yeah, you want to get where you're going, but don't you want to get there safely? And if you're in traffic, blowing the horn and putting the finger out the window and whatever else, I don't know that's going to make it any better for you or anybody else. So, and if you are the one who is causing the trouble, well, think about it again. See what you can do to make it better. Until tomorrow, be blessed.